But this year, a few months ago, we had the drop in taxes, right? GST, you don't see that happening very often. So cars suddenly got a whole lot cheaper, and then manufacturers went in with their own sort of discounts, make them little lucrative. So 50,000, 1 lakh, 1.2 lakhs.
That's wonderful. And indeed, every year we find the luminaries come in. Anand Mahindra is a regular. He loves being there.
Right.
John Abraham is an automobile enthusiast, tries and makes it every year.
Right.
And then, of course, there's Baman Irani, the actor.
Yeah, right.
There's always representation from the government of Maharashtra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me about the Bike of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you had many nominations from other brands, but the one that took it home was the TVS Apache RTX 300. And I think I was talking to Rishad about this, and I had a short ride on it as well. Very impressive machine. We watched the Surya Kirans when they came to Mumbai. We had this lovely show here, and we thought, hey, you know what? What if we did the same but on the ground?
All right. The guest of the day is somebody whose brand is family to 94.3 Radio 1. Over the last 2 decades, if you've caught our auto shows on Radio 1, there's only one entity that we've collaborated with, and that's the Autocar India people, the good folks at Autocar, represented by Horma Sorabji, editor, Shapur Kotwal, deputy editor, Renuka Kirpalani, who's the executive producer on the TV show, and of course, from time to time, their tech wing, erstwhile tech wing, represented by Stuff India, Nishant Padiyar also coming in. We pretty much got a 360-degree holistic view of the automotive industry as well as the tech business. It gives me absolute great pleasure to welcome Sergius Barretto in the long list of Autocar India people who have come and graced the studio. Sergius is Managing Director at Autocar India. Sergius, wonderful to see you.
Thanks, Hrishi. And that's Managing Editor, just a small little tweak there.
What did I say?
Director.
Managing Editor at
Not
Autocar
yet
India.
Director.
We wouldn't want to do that to Horma. So.
Exactly.
Listen, this is fabulous. The Autocar India Awards. The reason Sergius is here primarily is to have a chat about the Autocar India Awards, the 2026 edition. Please mark your calendars. Tomorrow, Saturday, the 24th, on Times Now, the TV channel at 4:30 in the afternoon. If you missed that, there is a repeat the very next day, which is Sunday at 4:30 in the afternoon, which is the 25th of January. This is such a wonderful, wonderful award ceremony. I've had the good fortune over the last 8 years and some to co-present it with the ever-wonderful Renuka Kirpalani. But really, I only come in at the last stage, to do the easy stuff. You guys pretty much work on it all year around. Give us a sense of these awards. They're really a legacy brand and an IP that you guys have created for posterity. When did it first start? And a sense of the kind of industry leaders who've appeared on ground year after year.
Yeah, absolutely, Hrishi. First of all, thanks for having us on air with you. It's always a pleasure. And it's the awards are it's now the 23rd year that we've been doing this. Started way back in 2003. The 2003 awards was the first one, and I think it's only grown since then in terms of getting reach and credibility, because one of the things we've kept consistent is the jury. We've had a few changes, I've been with Autocar 10 years, so obviously not there from the start, but Hormas, always there. Naren Karthikeyan, India's first Formula 1 car driver. Renuka, you just spoke about her, so she's always been there till date, always on the jury. So it's been a very, very, very consistent jury. And I think that sort of brings and establishes credibility to these awards. They're not something that is just, picked out of a hat. They're deliberated on by experts all through the year when we review the cars. And then what we do, we have what we call the jury round, where we call back all of the contenders to a particular venue. Sometimes it's a racetrack, sometimes it's somewhere else. And we just go through them again. It's more like a refresh. It's not that they're competing there, but it's more like a refresh to just jog our memories back on what we've driven. And of course, there's reams and reams of data that our team hates preparing, but we've got all of the data to support your own feel and from the seat of your pants.
That's wonderful. And indeed, every year we find the luminaries come in. Anand Mahindra is a regular. He loves being there.
Right.
John Abraham is an automobile enthusiast, tries and makes it every year.
Right.
And then, of course, there's Baman Irani, the actor.
Yeah, right.
There's always representation from the government of Maharashtra.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, of course, very prominent business leaders in the automotive industry. And you've also, in the awards, recognized that by giving a Person of the Year. Right. So talk about luminaries who've attended over the last decade that you've been involved.
No, in fact, Hrishi, you're right. We've, thanks to this credibility, I think we've had a lot of people come in. Like you've mentioned, there's been also Tendulkar, I can add to that list, Sachin Tendulkar, who's come in. Central government too. We've had even Nitin Gadkari, who we 1 year gave an award. Right, and I remember this was quite controversial, maybe because it was for the safety thing. The speed beep that we have now on cars. 80 kilometers, you get the first beep, and then above 120, it's a continuous beep. Annoys the hell out of some people, but honestly, it has made a difference. It has reminded people to just bring down that speed, because that is something that is a huge factor in an impact. It's just the speed that you carry. So we gave them that award because it has helped, has made the difference, and we know a lot of people have been writing and saying that it has made that difference. Gadkari has been a guest at our awards. We've had Anand Kide, so a lot of central ministers and of course state ministers too, and I think we're really proud of that recognition.
You also have your own loyal readers and viewers now, because of the proliferation of digital media, represented, and they get to choose certain categories.
Yes, we do have the Viewers' Choice Award, so both for cars and for bikes. That's one that we love seeing also, because we are the sort of self-proclaimed experts maybe, and we go through it in a very thorough sort of evaluation method, come out with the winner. But then what does the consumer think? That's at the end of the day something very important. We may say everything about the engine, the power, the comfort and things like that. But what does the consumer think? And that's where consumers can go in and vote, and we see what really India thinks about these cars and bikes.
And, your loyal followers still buy subscriptions.
Oh, yeah.
In Bangalore, my parents live in Bangalore. My dad is 82. He has a friend called Mr. Shetty who's in his late 70s. He's been subscribing to crisp copies of Autocar India as well as Autocar Professional. Right. And, he very proudly says, I'm old school.
Right.
I love getting the physical print. And you've kept the quality of the paper, the quality of the print for the old school people.
Right.
And you've proliferated on YouTube as well as podcasting with great aplomb. So the idea is to keep it 360 degrees now.
Yeah. Absolutely, Hrishi. You couldn't have said it better. And I'm so thankful that people still look at print. People think it's a dying medium, but frankly, it's been, something that is only growing for us. Yes, during the pandemic, we lost a lot. Newsstands just closed down, and we're still trying to get up to the levels where we were at. But there's been growth all through. In terms of print. And I think one of the reasons, like you said, we've maintained the quality and things like that. Of course, from photography, whether it's the editorial, whether it's the quality of paper, there is still that high focus on the magazine. And the good thing is it's not just the old school people. I have a lot of people who write in or call in and tell us that, of course we watch YouTube and Instagram and things like that. But sometimes you're just sitting back. You don't want to reach for your phone or a screen or turn on a laptop and check something. You just want to pick up the magazine. It's so easy. It's right there off the coffee table or wherever they keep it, the bedside table, and, just read through. So I think even people who do consume our content on digital medium still want a physical copy. I hope more and more people want that, because for me it's the ultimate expression of design that you get there. But yeah, it's really, thankfully, touch wood, going still strong.
And I'm going to run you through some significant categories. Now, the Car of the Year is really the biggest award that you give out in the Autocar India Awards. And what a stellar lineup you had this year. You had two from the VinFast stable, Sergius. You had two from the Tata stable. Skoda had two of their models nominated. MG had one. Mahindra had two. BMW had three of their cars nominated in this particular category. Honda with one. Hyundai with two. Kia again with two. And, I thought that there were some very, very strong contenders in this. So I'd like you to talk about strong contenders, cars that impressed you, and what ultimately won.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely strong contenders. There were many this year. We had the Tata Sierra, strong sort of challenger there. We had the Kia Ceros. Not many people like how it looks, but it is a fundamentally well sort of packaged car. Packaging is superb. We had the Clavis EV, the electric version of the Kia Clavis, and I think, and then of course the the other cars that we had, like the VinFast, for example, like an outsider who doesn't like somebody like an underdog in a fight. So these were some of the I would say the stronger contenders in there. And yeah, the Sierra did take home the award, and I think it was almost unanimous across all of us. Styling, it had this perfect balance of the old Sierra. I mean, I'm sure you remember the old original Sierra too. Which it had that sort of iconic wrap over glass, and you had the same thing done in design. Today you can't do that thanks to safety, and you need a strong structural cage and things like that. But they had the blackout portion, recreating that thing. They had a fatter B pillar. So a small little cues harking back to the original, but very modern design language as well. So it was a perfect balance for, I think, all of us there in terms of the style. They introduced a new platform. So it's built on an all-new platform. That does not happen very often in the auto industry. Very often you use old platforms and sort of just move ahead with that. This is almost a clean sheet of paper in every respect, because there's a new platform, a brand new engine, and it's being built at a new plant that Tata purchased from Ford. So everything new in there, and you can see they've thrown a lot at it, and it shows. The new engine is another thing that impressed us really, really well. The turbocharged engine, very refined and a very strong performer. Yes, the 1.5 liter, the naturally aspirated engine, it isn't powerful at all. In fact, it is very slow. But if you're looking at the diesel, because they do offer diesel, and that's a shrinking actually segment, not too many people offer you that choice. But Tata still went ahead with that, and they are offering you diesel, and then they are offering you the turbo petrol as well. So a very, very well-rounded package. And then comfort and, the tech features, triple screens today. Who doesn't like more screens in their car? Not me. Yes, I don't like them, but consumers seem to love it. So you've got these 3 screens across, the rear space ample. So I think it's a very, very well-rounded product. We were thoroughly impressed by it.
Wonderful. Now we're going to come to the bike of the year, another one of those flagships at the Autocar India Awards.
Rishad Modi.
Rishad Modi
Right.
is somebody who's on the jury. He's also the editor of the bike section.
Right.
And, I know that Rishad works really hard and is very passionate about his bikes. And really one expected it to be KTM versus Royal Enfield, because Royal Enfield, 4 of their bikes nominated. KTM, 5 of their bikes nominated, which left TVS and Yamaha and Kawasaki and Java and Honda with one nomination each. 3 there for Hero, and of course the lone Aprilia there. Talk to me about the bike of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you had many nominations from other brands, but the one that took it home was the TVS Apache RTX 300. And I think I was talking to Rishad about this, and I had a short ride on it as well. Very impressive machine from TVS, homegrown, brand. And I think they really nailed the brief of that bike, which is to be an adventure bike, but also something that you can use every day. So it's very manageable. It looks big, but doesn't feel too heavy. The engine is really nice and refined. The chassis, the suspension. I mean, all of the riders were thoroughly impressed with that bike. And yeah, I mean, no surprise, took home the award for the bike of the year.
Such as the person of the year from the automotive industry and the manufacturer of the year are awards which the entire industry applauds, stands up and applauds, and we need to to take cognizance of the fact that this is a unique personality and, of course, a unique manufacturer. And it was so warming the cockles of my heart and every automotive enthusiast's heart that we had a father-son duo on stage this year. Of course, the son getting the award, but the father being there, also being called up on stage to speak, which I thought was a very, very goosebump-inducing moment. Talk to us about the TVS family.
Absolutely, Rishi. Venu Sudarshan was our man of the year this year. He's done remarkable things at TVS. As you know, TVS historically, way back in the day, they were in a joint venture with Suzuki. So you had TVS Suzuki. They split up. But they've only gone from strength to strength after that split in terms of their own engineering, their own R&D, and the bikes that we see, world class. They've purchased Norton, which is an old historic British motorcycling brand. They're reviving that. They announced those last year. They showed some products. Norton, in fact, were in a very bad shape also. But I think, Venu, maybe being the, younger blood, took sort of personal interest in that, fixed all of what was wrong with those bikes apparently, and now is moving on to a whole new wave of bikes as well. That's on the Norton side. They are coming to India as well too. So, he's been very dynamic in terms of both the domestic market, overseas market, and bringing in, for example, an international brand like Norton. So it's been a phenomenal performance by him. And from what we know, he's somebody who's very hands-on. He's grown through the ranks, so he's only emerging right now, but he's been there, being mentored by his dad, of course, all these years.
And his dad himself was a person of the year many years
absolutely.
ago.
Correct.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Great luminary. I think it's just wonderful to have both of them on stage. Manufacturer of the Year at the Autocar India Awards 2026.
Yes, Manufacturer of the Year, Mahindra, third year in a row.
Wow.
Now that is something, 3 years in a row. To do this is pretty significant. It's not very easy, because if you look at the car industry, it's not as quick as the tech industry. Like phones, for example, you can have a phone out every 6 months. There's something new, completely new, change the chips and things like that. You can't do that with something like an automobile. You can't just swap out an engine and say, okay, 6 months later, let's have an all new engine. The kind of investment that goes into making an engine, you need a long period. And when I mean long, I mean a decade plus. Right. So innovation comes very slowly in the auto industry compared to the tech industry. So therefore, it's hard for a manufacturer to do something radical every year or something, mind blowing. But Mahindra have done that 3 years in a row. Like we said, if you look at Mahindra's rise, they are a homegrown brand. Let's put that first in place. If you just look back less than a decade ago, they had very rudimentary vehicles. Ladder on frame chassis vehicles, as we call them, nowhere close to the international standards. They had a monocoque in the XUV 500. I think that was their first monocoque vehicle, and that began their journey. But from there, they've been made rapid progress. Rishi, the engines today at Mahindra, I can tell you, are world class. Petrol and diesel, both in terms of performance and refinement. Diesel and petrol, and that is something when you can actually have an engine that is world class. And we know that Ford was quoting them. Unfortunately, the alliance didn't go through, but Ford were going to use a Mahindra platform, Mahindra tech, a Mahindra engine, and badge it a Ford, right, for the domestic market here and also for export markets. So that does then tell you something about what they've achieved, right?
Well, I hope Anand Mahindra is listening to this. Anand does listen to us every morning on his drive to work, and he tweets out or he messages. What a wonderful legacy you've built, Anand, and more power to you, to Anish, to everybody in the automotive division. Lots of research and hard work going into this, and these cars all look like beauties. Let's come to compact SUV of the year, Sergius. I mean, the Hyundai Venue, the Kia Ceros, the Skoda Kailak, they were the nominees. And it is an interesting segment because lots of Indians still want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't want an SUV? And with our crowded cities, I think a compact SUV kind of just makes sense. You get the ride height, you get that elevated seating position, but in a smaller footprint. The contenders here, the Kailak, the Skoda Kailak was a very strong contender. It brought back fun to drive into this segment. it's a wonderful little car, a 1 liter engine, peppy enough, and I think it's a hallmark of Skoda. They've always been great or fun to drive vehicles, and you can see that with the Kailak. The Syros, though, also another strong contender, and for different reasons here. The suspension a little firm, so maybe it doesn't ride as well as or handle as well as a Kailak. But the interiors, the packaging, phenomenal. Again, within that sub 4 meter footprint, ample legroom in the rear, and they focused on the rear, which brands tend to ignore sometimes. In India, we are a chauffeur-driven market. You don't have to have an S-Class to be chauffeur-driven. I think in India, you can afford a chauffeur, you can afford to have one, and you don't need to be, the head of a company to have a chauffeur. And so you will find people chauffeur-driven in all sorts of cars. And I think with the Syros, they had the rear seat in focus, reclining rear seats and cooled rear seats. Normally you see that only on the front, but they had this on the rear too. So that was a very strong sort of, card that it played. But the one that took the award was the Hyundai Venue. And I think because it sort of ticked all the boxes, a very good, very strong all-rounder. So good comfort at the rear, a good strong engines. And that's something that you also want from a category winner. You want it to sort of hit every note right. I think music, you don't want a bum note in there sometimes, right?
True.
So it's something like that. And I think the Venue sort of just hit all the notes perfectly.
The midsize SUV of the year was really a toss-up between the Maruti Suzuki Victoris and the Tata Sierra, and the executive SUV of the year was a toss-up between the Skoda Kodiaq and the Volkswagen Tiguan. So you want to run me through those two?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Sierra no doubt would have taken its category award also, obviously, there for the same reasons that we just mentioned. Yes, the Victoris was also a strong contender, like you said. And, in the Victoris's case, it also sort of ticked many of these boxes. But the Sierra, like we said, for all that, it ticked all of those same things and brought in some amount of, excitement as well. In the executive SUV space, yes, the Skoda took it. And I think there, the packaging, really perfect. It's that size where it's not too gargantuan. Yes, it's large, but it still feels very light on its feet. It's nice to drive. Typical of every Skoda, as we were just discussing earlier, and that's retained despite this being a larger SUV now. And you have all of the space. You've got, the features that you would want in this vehicle. So really, again, another very strong, well-rounded product from Skoda.
The luxury sedan of the year had the BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe and Toyota Camry nominated. Which one took the award away?
The Camry. Now, that is unfortunately, a lot of people, when you say Camry, they think of a very staid, laid-back kind of sedan. And that has been the case. But if you look at the Camry now, very exciting. Visually, it just looks alive, right? And then you've got the Toyota reliability, which is just baked into every product they build. And this Camry, as the ones before, is a strong hybrid. And, that's something very interesting because hybrid, this word is being bandied about by everybody today. And basically what a hybrid means is when you have electrical assistance to the engine. Now, some of them only assist an engine, so we call those mild hybrids. But some can power the car completely on the electric power alone. And then we call them strong hybrids, right? Just broadly categorizing them. And the Camry is one example of that. So it is a strong hybrid. It can go into full electric mode. And when it does that, superbly silent. It's just motoring along completely on electric current only. And then, of course, this being the sedan segment, you are chauffeur driven. You've got fantastic rear seats, ample legroom. You've got reclining seats. You've got controls on the center armrest. So a really, really nice, comfy place to be.
I'm going to come into the EV categories now, and really electric vehicles have found their home now. A lot has got to be said about how much we've worked on EV as a category. The government is bullish about it. GST has been slashed. And indeed, we've seen an EV win car of the year.
Yep.
And this year we had lots of EV segments. You had the mid-size EV, the premium EV, the luxury EV, the performance EV. So those four categories, I'm not going to get into specifics, but I'd just like you to talk about the premium EV. For example, I had one Mahindra, one Tata, and one VinFast. The luxury one had lots of brands in there. A BMW, a BYD, a Maserati, a Mercedes, an MG and a Tesla. And the performance had a Lotus, a Maserati and an MG. So if you could run us through the 4 EV categories at the Autocar India Awards.
Oh, absolutely, Rishi. In fact, like you said, we've had multiple categories in the EV space. Earlier it used to be just one EV of the year because you didn't have that many. But as we've seen, there have been EV launches by the dozens, and we've been able to and had the good fortune of having a separate segment for each of them. Who would have thought, just like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, we had the premium EV of the year. We had the mid-size EV of the year. We had the luxury EV of the year. And we also had the performance EV of the year because performance is something that EVs do deliver, and we've had a lot of brands bring in performance cars, and the one that took it was the MG Cyberster. Now it did pip the Lotus Emea, yes, so that is a big one to go beyond. Also the Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore, the electric version of the Gran Turismo. I think the reason it pipped it was because of its price to performance ratio, its size, and its drop-dead gorgeous looks. When you're talking of a performance car, I don't know about you, Rishi, but for me, it's got to also scream performance when it's standing still.
Sure.
Right? I mean, that's what we all want in a performance car. Yeah, sleeper cars are nice, but you want your performance car to look and deliver performance. And the Cyberster does that. And then it's got drama as well, like the scissor doors that open up, the Lamborghini style. Who doesn't like that in a performance car too? So I think this one was, a favorite with all of us, and it took that award. But I have to also talk about the other ones, which is the premium EV of the year, the Mahindra, the XEV9e. That one was a very strong contender also for the overall award, right? As an EV is phenomenal, right? Very silent. It's got all that you want from an EV. Lot of performance being, key to the Mahindra brand. They have this thing of wanting lively performance in everything they do. It's just a brand, right? Whether you look at a Thar or a Scorpio, they want performance, and the 9e delivers that. But it also delivers a lot of comfort inside. Again, 3 screens across, right? A huge glass roof. Sunroofs are a craze right now in India, for good or for bad. And they've got the ability where they've etched it as well. So when the LED lighting, ambient lighting is on, you can see the etching into the glass there. So it's got this really nice, feel-good kind of factor. So exciting for people, and I think with an EV buyers want something different. They want to stand out and signal that, hey, I've bought something different. So yeah, that's the reason why that took the award there.
There are lots more categories: the best design and styling, the 4-wheeler variant update of the year, value for money car of the year, the viewer's choice car and bike, scooter of the year, electric 2-wheeler of the year, the import bike of the year, performance bike, performance car, sports car, performance SUV. Please watch the Autocar India Awards 2026, 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday 24th, 4:30 p.m. Sunday 25th on Times Now. And do tell us what you feel. Sergius, as managing editor of Autocar India magazine, one of the big things that you constantly looking at, along with your team, along with Hormaz Sorabji, who's the editor, and Shahpur is the deputy editor, is outreach to your readers, to your watchers, to your consumers. And I find some of the stories that you do very fascinating, and also your on-ground activations and outreach. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about some of these classic car rallies, vintage rallies, which have become such a rage, and if there's something coming up in the immediate future for our listeners.
Right, thanks, Hrishi. Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, some of the events that we get to reach out to our audience physically is these events that we do have, the on-ground events. We just had one, which was the Mercedes-Benz Classic Car Rally. That's been going on for years, specific to Mercedes, where you've got vintage Mercedes cars right up to the latest ones there. But we've got one coming up, 31st and the 1st. So, if you're listening, please do come in there. Tickets are available on Book My Show. It's right here in Bombay. And what this is the Modern Classic Rally. Now, it's for, I would say, people like you and me. We grew up with certain posters on our walls of cars from the 70s and 80s, right? It's those cars that are going to be there. So it's not the vintage cars. It's what we call the modern classics. So Lamborghini Countach, a Chevrolet Corvette, so stuff like that, a Chevy Camaro, so Ford Mustang. You're going to see all of these cars there. We've got, I think, confirmed participation of over 120.
So that's fascinating. You're calling it the Autocar India Modern Classic Rally 2026, right? Venue, Sergius?
Yeah, so that's at the Grand Hyatt in Mumbai, and this will be a static display on the 31st. So you can come in, walk amongst the cars, meet some of the owners. Some of the brands will also have their own stalls there, so you can pick up some merchandise. Perhaps you like scale models or caps or T-shirts, from brands like Mercedes or MG and things like that. So we will have that as well. And then the next day, which is the Sunday morning, there will be a drive past. Now, all of those details, the route, the map is all up on our website and our Instagram handle. So our website is autocarindia.com. So yeah, do go there, check that out, because you can, if you can't make it to the venue, you could perhaps see the drive-by going all through, because this time we're going to do, of course, the Sea Link and the Coastal Road as well. So
amazing. So Saturday, January 31st, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the Grand Hyatt. Stationary display. The very next day, they're going to be going through down the Coastal Road. That's the Modern Classic Rally 2026 Autocar India. That's fascinating. And really, over the sands of time, some of the amazing stories that you put out, for example, an aeroplane racing against a car at the Goa airport.
Right.
Sachin Tendulkar going for a drive. Narayan keeps doing all these. Narayan Karthikeyan goes for all these drives with you. You've also gotten into the Guinness Book of World Records. How amazing is that? Talk about that.
Right, absolutely. In fact, twice this year. For one, the sort of maximum change in temperature that we drove an EV through. So we went, of course, from the deserts to right up into the snow. But the one that's really a very exciting one that I'm really happy about is the longest distance covered on an EV in a single charge, in an EV in a single charge. That was with the Mercedes EQS, the sedan, and Rahul Kakkar was our driver there, and he did 949 kilometers. On a single charge.
On a single charge.
Now, this is not inside a test facility. This was on public roads, right? So with just your everyday traffic. So that sort of makes it all the more special. Right. Now, of course, this was hypermiling. Let me just put that out there. So air conditioning was off and things like that. So it's not your everyday driving scenario.
Sure.
But the whole idea of hypermiling an EV is just to see how much could you extract from a full charge or from a full battery. And 949 kilometers is what we did here. Very proud of that, and hats off to Rahul for doing that, because believe me, to drive 949 kilometers without an air conditioning, it's
not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And over the sands of time, the ASEAN Car Rally, amazing stuff. You guys have really been at the forefront of anything to do with automotive culture in this country.
Absolutely, Rishi. We love to do, besides the news and reviews, we love to do these great big stories, which Shapur does a lot of as well. In fact, yes, we did race a MiG, we did race a Sukhoi and things like that. But we also did some formation driving with the Surya Kiran team. Now, that was something that we did recently, and again, that story and the video is also up. It was something that was a wild sort of idea we had in the office. We thought, we watched the Surya Kirans when they came to Mumbai. We had this lovely show here, and we thought, hey, you know what? What if we did the same but on the ground? Easier said than done, I can tell you, Rishi, because our team, we had 4 Tata Curves, and we said we'd do some formation driving on the ground and we try and replicate some moves. Man, it was so difficult. It was such a comedy of errors.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah, no, and just driving in formation, and so the pilots came in and they helped us with the driving, and I think one of the things they said was, don't drive for the entire area around. Just drive to a marker on the other car.
Nice.
So look
Great
at that
advice.
one car, keep that same distance, and they helped us through some of the maneuvers, and then of course they ended with a display right over us while we were driving down below. So
how beautiful is that? I think a nice way to sum up this entire discussion would be the state of the automotive industry currently. It's robust. I know you had a tough time during the pandemic. How do you view it now? And how's policy doing?
Right. So I think one thing I have to say, yes, we did bounce back from the pandemic. A lot attributed to you only live once, the YOLO effect. So it was a very quick bounce back. That was nice to see. But this year, a few months ago, we had the drop in taxes, right? GST, you don't see that happening very often. So cars suddenly got a whole lot cheaper, and then manufacturers went in with their own sort of discounts, make them little lucrative. So 50,000, 1 lakh, 1.2 lakhs on mainstream cars. Now that is something that you don't see every day. And so that really sort of pushed things along. How will that play out? That is important, because hopefully these aren't blips. What you want is sustained growth. You want sustained performance from the industry. And the way I'm seeing it, yeah, sure, of course, we saw that spurt because you must remember before the GST announcement actually happened and came into effect, a lot of the government officials and politicians did talk about it, right? So there was a dip. There were people who were waiting therefore for that drop to happen. So,
Sure.
So there was that dip, and then of course everyone rushed in and bought those cars. But I think this year, 2026, is going to give us a true indication then of the market, because you've got the taxes now come down. Yes, some of the brands have hiked their prices as they do annually every year. Every January you have the small hike in price, but it's been two smaller amounts, 1 and 2%, not really clawing back all the benefit that was gained with the GST drop. So 2026, I think, will really be the indicator of our growth for the Indian auto industry.
Wonderful. Sergius Barretto, Managing Editor of Autocar India magazine. Wonderful to chat with you. All the best to you and the team at Autocar India. Where can people reach out to you on Instagram as well as Twitter, both the magazine as well as yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. We are on all mediums today, as you have to be. So Twitter, Instagram, please reach out to us, Autocar India Mag, and Sergius Barretto. Yeah, that's who we are.
Spell your name, not easy.
That is true. Sergius and Barretto.
Fabulous. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Yeah.
Thanks, Hrishi.
94.3 Radio 1.